Welcome to this Servicenow reporting session. Getting started with reports. This session is geared for those who are new to Servicenow reporting. I'll cover the basics that you need to know in order to quickly create the reports that you need. As you may already know, Servicenow is a very powerful and dynamic application and has many useful features. The reports module itself is a very powerful tool. However, it is relatively easy to use. In fact, in most cases, building reports in Servicenow is much easier than expected. In this session, I'll cover the following topics: accessing the reports module, creating new reports from scratch, creating reports from a list, copying existing reports, sharing reports, scheduling reports, and adding reports to your dashboards. Servicenow reports are visualizations of data that we can share on dashboards and service portals. We can export or send via email. Before creating reports, we should have a clear idea of the information that we want to gain from them. The reporting module is available to licensed users only. End users or our customers can view reports that have been shared to them. However, they cannot create or modify reports, nor can they access the reports module. Reports can be accessed by clicking the View Run module, which is located under Reports application. You can also quickly access the Reports module by typing the word Reports in the Navigator filter, then click the View Run module. When you enter the Reports module, the My Reports Quick Filter button is selected by default and only shows reports that you own or created. You'll need to switch to one of the other buttons to see shared or global reports. The Group button shows reports that have been shared to you and or your groups. If you like, you can adjust which columns are in view by toggling the radio button to enable or disable specific columns. The icon to the left of each report indicates the type of report. Hovering over the report icon will display additional information about the report. There are two user interfaces for the reporting module to choose from: the classic UI and the new UI. You can switch between interfaces by clicking the Switch to New or Switch to the Classic UI link located in the top right corner of the reports frame. This session will focus on the new UI, also referred to as the Report Designer. There are multiple ways to begin creating Servicenow reports. When creating reports from scratch, you should know the table that you want to report from. Creating reports from a list view or by copying an existing report is much easier than starting from scratch. To create a report from a list, simply right-click on a column header, then click either bar or pie chart. The bar and pie chart reports require less resources, so they're the only two options available when creating reports from a list. Once you create the report, you can easily change it to the type of report that you desire. Another option when creating reports from scratch is to use the Analytics Q&A. When using this method, you can simply type in your desired filter conditions and the system will create the report for you. Let's say I need to create a report from scratch showing all tickets assigned to me over the last 2 years. Using the Analytics Q&A, I can simply type in the phrase or filter conditions and press enter. As you can see, the system has quickly created the report for me. It even named my report. Now let's validate the report by checking the filters. The ask was for all tickets assigned to me that were opened over the last 2 years. We'll go over this method a little more within the Servicenow application. Servicenow reports can be shared, scheduled, added to your dashboard, or even exported directly from the report using the sharing icon. Exporting from Servicenow is highly discouraged and should only be done when absolutely necessary, as Servicenow does contain protected health information, or PHI. Also, scheduled reports running in the background can consume valuable system resources, so schedule reports only when necessary, and remember to disable any scheduled reports once they're no longer needed. You can also begin by copying an existing report. Update the filters, rename, and then save your report. Don't worry, you cannot change or overwrite reports that you do not own. After you copy and save an existing report, it will be available to you under My Reports in your Reports module. It is always a good idea to check existing reports before starting a new one. This could save you some valuable time. Dashboards are used to visualize and share reports. We won't go much into dashboards, but these are some of the dashboard options that you have available. After creating your dashboard, reports and other widgets can be added by clicking the Add Widget symbol. You can also add reports to your dashboard directly from the report by clicking the Share icon and then clicking Add to Dashboard. There are many different types of reports in Servicenow that you can create. These are just a few. Now I'll go directly into the application to review what we've just covered. Before we do that, I'd like to mention that each Wednesday from 12 to 1 p.m., we hold Servicenow Learn at Lunch sessions. During these sessions, we'll take time to assist you with anything Servicenow and to answer any questions you may have. If you have not received the Outlook invitation, reach out to myself, David Chisholm, or the Servicenow team for more information. So let's begin by how to access the Reports module. You can type the word Reports in the Navigator filter. Now everything here are reports related. The Reports module is here under View Run Reports. As I mentioned earlier, when you enter the Reports module, the My Reports Quick Filter button will be selected by default. If you want to see other reports that have been shared with you or your group, you'll need to select one of the other buttons. This is kind of important to remember, especially when you're searching for reports. Let me give you a quick example. I'll go ahead and search for a report that I know exists. Now I search and I have no results. Again, that's because I did not create this report. So what I have to do is click one of the other buttons, All for example. Now I can see the report that I was searching for. When you finish searching, always clear out this search box so you'll see all the reports that you have access to again. Now, a quick review again. The My Reports button are reports that you own or have created. The Group button shows reports that have been shared with you or your group. Global shows all the reports that have been shared globally with everyone. All is just what it says, all the reports here. One other thing I want to point out while we're here are the favorites. The favorites here, these favorites icons that you see, only apply to the reporting module. They are not the favorites that you have here. So let me show you how it works. Let's say I'm going to go ahead and search for that same report again that I was looking for earlier. When I go ahead and hit enter, I can find the report because I have the All button selected. Let me give you a quick example. I'm going to search for a report, one of my reports that I know exists. In fact, this report right here. I'll go ahead and search for it here. Press enter. I can find the report. The report shows up. Now let's try that again. If I have the favorites button selected, then I search for that report that we know exists, it will not show up. Again, that's because I have the favorites button selected. This is telling the system or the reports module to only show the reports that I have marked as favorites. Remember to clear out this search box when you're finished. That way you can see all the reports that you have access to again. I mentioned that it may be a little challenging to create reports from scratch as a new report user if you're not familiar with the system tables. That's because if you go here and create the report manually from scratch, you'll need to know what table you're going to report on. These table names are not obvious. So again, this is not the ideal method for a new report user to begin with. However, if you go here and use the Analytics QA, it's a lot easier to go ahead and create that report from scratch. Now let's say I want to create a report to show all the tickets that have been open for my team over the last 2 months. I could go ahead and enter that phrase, and what I'm doing here, I'm actually entering the filter conditions. The system is picking these up as the filter conditions. So when I press enter or click the ask button, the system will go ahead and create that report for me. Now you see the report was created. I'm going to go ahead and spot check it or validate it by first checking the filters. Now you see here, I did ask for my groups and it's set to my groups and that were open over the last 2 months. And here's that filter here. Now check the report itself. So if I go to assignment group, these are all the tickets for my group. And if I check the dates, I'm pretty sure I'll see the tickets have all been opened over the last 2 months. In fact, the QA actually gave my report a name for me, and the name is pretty accurate. So this works pretty well. So one more example. I can start from here now that I have it open. So I'll go ahead and ask for the tickets, all of my, I'll say my group's tickets closed on last 2 months. That should give me a result. So the system went ahead and created the report for me. Again, I have my groups, tickets that were closed this time, relative after the last 2 months. So again, this is a pretty accurate report, and it even gave it a name for me. The only thing I need to do now is save this report. Now I want to point out one last thing while you're here. This is more of a terminology deal. I asked for tickets that are assigned to my group. So here I only have tickets. You notice these are only tickets. Let's say I wanted to see all the work assigned to my group. Tickets, work orders, catalog, task enhancements, everything. The word for that, the way you do that, or the word for that is work. Work in Servicenow refers to everything. Let me give you an example. If I change the word tickets to work, then press enter, the system will go through. It didn't understand the query. So that's a good example. So let me go ahead and rephrase that. My group's work opened on the last 2 months. I think that's a pretty good phrase. Press enter, and here's my report. So tickets assigned to my group and open on the last 2 months. So this is probably the easiest way to begin creating your reports. It's a pretty useful tool. Remember to save your report when you finish. So that covers creating reports from scratch. Another method for creating reports is creating reports from a list view. You can create reports from any list pretty much in Servicenow. It could be a list of tickets, as we have here on the screen. It could be a list of computers. It could be a list of changes. Any list pretty much in Servicenow can be used to begin creating a report. You can even begin from the lists that are in the navigator. I'm going to go ahead and pin this to keep it here. Now, let's say I want to create a report of all the open tickets for my group. Instead of starting from scratch where I have to go and locate the tables, unless I'm using the Analytics QA, I can go here and use this list. I know this shows all of the open incidents. I'll go ahead and click on that. That sets everything correct for me. It sets it on the correct table, which is the ticket table, and it has filtered out to show all of the tickets that are incidents. Now, if I wanted to report on this or, report on this further, I could right click here and send this right over to the reports module itself. Let's say I wanted to see all these tickets here. I wanted one report to show these by state. And then again, I need another report to show, to group by assignment or assigned to. Or maybe I wanted to report to group by open by. Normally, I'd go ahead and create 3 reports, but there's really no need to create 3 different reports. I can go here and use the additional group by option here. So if I go here and hit the additional group by, again, I wanted to say, I'll probably use some different examples here, but I'll say assigned to as 1. Go ahead and put that there. The other one was open by. I'll add that here. And I think the last one was state. So we have those 3. Now when I hit OK, again, don't save the report until you see the results, make sure they're what you're expecting. Now I'll go ahead and hit run, and you'll notice down here, now I have a drop down. What I can do, again, instead of creating a whole different report to show these by assigned to, I'll go ahead and click assigned to. Now the report is grouped by the assigned to. Go here again. Maybe I want to see it by state. Now it's grouped by the state. And this works for most report types. So if I go here and change this report to a bar chart again and hit run, I'll still have my drop downs down here. When you use the bar chart, it gives you the option to stack them as well. So I could say I want this grouped by assigned to, and I want to show the state. So this report is now grouped by the assigned to, which is me and Gloria, and it's also stacked by the state. So the tickets that I have here, I have one ticket that is work in progress, and you'll see work in progress here, and I have another ticket here that is closed. Gloria, the same thing. She has a ticket here that is work in progress and one ticket that is closed. Now, these are interactive. The reports in Servicenow are interactive, meaning I could go ahead and click this here and it removes the work in progress. Or maybe I wanted to remove the closed. Now there are no closed tickets here. The reporting module is pretty dynamic. You can do a lot of things with it once you get more familiar with it. So lastly, another way to begin creating your reports is just locate a report that's already here. There are a lot of reports in the system. And the report that you need, again, it may already exist. So it could save you a lot of time by going through all the steps of, creating a report from scratch or, So what we'll do here is just locate a report that looks like what we need. You can go ahead and search it here. The only thing you want to remember is make sure you have the all button selected. So you searching through all the reports. What we're going to do here is just choose this one for an example. Once you locate the report that's maybe it's what you need or maybe it's close to what you need, go ahead and update the filters. So for this report, I want to see all the tickets for my group, which isn't Radiant. So I'll go ahead and change that filter, the filter here, to reflect my group's ticket. So what I'll do, I can just change this, very simple, change this here to dynamic and then to one of my groups. So when we look at this report here, we're looking at, currently we're looking at tickets that are assigned to the Radiant group. I didn't create this report. Had the creator of this report used the dynamic filter, I would not have to change this report at all. I could just run it and it would run to show my group's ticket, because that's what this filter means, the dynamic filter. It's telling the system to show the results for the person who's currently viewing this, and which is me. Now, because I've changed it to dynamic, let me show you what I mean. Now, if I hit run, so now I'm impersonating a customer care agent. So now I have the tickets for customer care. So again, really quick, I went ahead and found a report that matches what I need or was close to what I need. I updated the filters for it and I ran it. Now, the last thing I want to do is save it. Again, when you copy someone else's report, you will not be able to save or override it. You see the save button is not even here. It's no longer here. That's because, again, this is not my report. Now, the last thing you want to do before you save it is give it a name. It says Radiant now, but I'll say my groups. Again, because if I share this report with someone now, because I used this dynamic filter, they won't have to do it. They won't have to change anything, not even the title, because when they run it, it's going to show the results for their groups, their tickets. So this is the last step here. We'll go ahead and save it by clicking this arrow here. Again, insert or insert and stay. We'll hit insert and stay because I want to stay on the screen. Now you'll see it created it created the report, and now this report here is going to be available to me under my reports section. I click here, my reports, here it is. So that's how you create a report, by copying someone else's report or copying a report that already exists, update it, save it, and you're done. Now we've covered the basics for creating reports in ServiceNow. Remember, every Wednesday from 12 to 1, we hold the Learn at Lunch sessions. During that session, I can go ahead, or myself or Gloria, we can go ahead and help you to create reports, or we can answer any other ServiceNow questions that you might have.